Hello, 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 crossroads, witches, and other interesting magical beings. So happy to see those who are returning back. Thank you all for all those wonderful comments. I know this past 2 weeks here I haven't been responding, but I want to guarantee I have been busy. I have read them, and it always seems somebody writes down a good comment right at the time that works for me. I'm like, oh, I needed that little happy boost today. So I want to first start out by saying thank you on that. All right, today we're going to talk about water. Beyond the idea of full moon, because yes, full moon water's fun, but there's so many other things we can do with water. First, I want to start out by talking a little bit just about Dr. Moto. He's one of those smarty pants doctors that's like, MIT, Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, has done John Hopkins and all this, but he's a research scientist who has proven that if you say nice, sexy things to water, that the molecules will change into these beautiful shapes, and that if you holler and cuss at water, then it will become fractured in these really, I'm not going to say ugly, but not cohesive looking, all right? I think ugly is, we've got to be mindful of that word. So, just on a scientific level, we can change the molecular structure of water by our words. That's how much water can be influenced, and other things can influence water as well. All right? Ooh, this is sounding good. One of the things I think about a lot of times that we really don't is the power of water in our space. You will see in many magical traditions where they will include a beautiful glass of water, or 3, 4, 5, 7 glasses of water. I know that when I'm doing some of my own personal water magic, I like to take 2 glasses of water and sit them at the doorway of my bathroom, and that way when I'm done doing my shower bath ritual, then I step through that doorway, that portal, and I'm using water as a way of creating it. All right, so there's some really cool things, like I said, beyond full moon water. A lot of times it is used as a way to help communicate with spirit folk, with ancestral folk, because water, as I talked how easy it is to influence, is also how easy it is for spirits, for other entities to be able to use it to come into space. And you will see where spirit communicators a lot of times have a glass, a cup, a bowl of water sitting out, and they're using it to help amplify what they have going on around them. Now I want to talk about one of my favorite ways to use water, and that is to create a water bowl, an intention bowl. I use this for protection. I use it for prosperity. I use it just for attracting good vibes in space. And this is a working that I was getting ready to do here because we're getting ready to turn this into a short-term rental. And so I want to make sure that the energy of the space is good. I want to make sure it's got good vibes for when my guests come. And I am making, basically, like I said, that happiness, prosperity, good vibes. That is my intention on this water bowl. First thing I'm going to do, of course, is get a bowl. I'm going to tell you to go thrifting. All right, I think I paid 75 cents for this. It's a really pretty crystal. The way I do my personal crystal is like I said, I hold, y'all, my tongue just got bigger in my mouth. I stop and hold the bowl. A lot of times I don't know if y'all, I want to hear it. Does it sound pretty? Oh, it does. And that I want a pretty little bowl that just that I feel like, okay, it's a good working size. I like these. I think this is like actually like a candy bowl or a dessert bowl. I'm not even sure what this bowl's used for. I just really like it a lot. And I use it for this particular working quite a bit. I have a couple of other pretty little crystal bowls. Like I said, I like to go to the thrift store. I want a nice thick one. All right. I want it to have substance. And I love the fact that it's old and that it's already got its own stories that it brought. And that the universe lined it up, and there we stood together, and now it came home with me. So get your bowl. You want to make sure your bowl is cleansed. You want to make sure your bowl is neutral. As I said earlier, it may have other energies on it, you know, and if they're good energies, of course, be mindful when you're cleansing, you know, that you ask that all negativity leave this bowl. May no bad memories be held in this bowl. May any memories of goodness, you know. Now, if I was going to use this, I'm going to tell y'all a little dark witch tidbit. If I was going to use this as a cursing bowl, my prayer would have been that to hold any negativity, to hold all the foul and filth that you've sat in, may all of that be amplified in this bowl. And when I was done with my working, I would wrap it up in a cloth and I would sit at some place where people can't mess with it. I would take it out, and I would obviously be using this bowl to work after midnight, where I'm working baneful energies. And I have already charged this bowl to hold foul and filth, so I will pull it out and then I will do my foul and filth. All right, but that's not what we're going to talk about. That's a little side note. Y'all just, and I know some of y'all scribbling that down in your books, but yeah, I'm not going to admit that I just told y'all that, because I just don't think I should. I'm going to be quiet. All right, we're going to go back to my video. I done started off on another track. All right, this bowl has been charged with goodness many times over. Even after I've used it and I go back and I wash it and I take it back to that state of neutrality, I still did any memories of goodness, may they be held. May those memories aid me in my next magical endeavor. I will sit and talk to the bowl and tell it what I want. And this particular bowl has a place where it sits up on the bookshelf. And occasionally, even when it's not in use and it's sitting there, I'll walk by and I'll be like, oh, aren't you a pretty little bowl? You always have happiness in you, don't you? All right, so I'm constantly charging it and talking to it. I'm putting my intentions into it. You do, you boo. I like to do a little vinegar wash because I'm dealing with glassware. If you want to smudge it, however is your way where you want to cleanse it, do you boo. Again, so we're going to work on the assumption we've cleansed our bowl and we've set our intention. All right. I know where this bowl's going. This is the most biggest step of magic, where there's people, I think, bowl over it. Stop, slow it down, sit back. My intention is to make sure I have good vibes in this space. My intention is that when folks who come here feel safe, secure, and welcome, that they feel happy, is what my intention is. And this is a time that you may want to write down your intention in your book if you are working something that's new. If you're still a novice, write it down. This is a working that I've been doing for a couple of decades now. As I said, I was talking, I think in the last video, I made the comment that 40 years, I'm 60 years old, all right? Stood in first base when I was 18. I was so young then, and have been in community ever since. So I've done this a couple of times. The next thing I do, I went and got my pretty happy bowl and decided I'm going to use my happy bowl. I have some moon water. This is the time we can use our moon water. And if you don't have moon water, use spring water. If you don't have spring water, just get it out of the GD faucet. Stop overthinking. Water's water. And when you pour it out of the faucet, put it in a little container, talk nice to it for a couple of minutes, just like Dr. Moto did. Make it happy molecules, and now you're ready to do your work in, all right? Next thing I do is, because I am a bit of a garden witch, is I do go out in my own personal garden to see what's up. I went after the rosemary. I grow rosemary. I love rosemary. It's one of my favorite to work with. I grow it, I dry it. It is just an amazing prosperity, protection, and amplification in other workings is how I personally use it. Different vibes, different people. It's about you connecting to the root yourself. I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the number I've decided, ooh, that is really a good number. I like that. 5 is what I ended up clipping. If you are growing rosemary, do clip it. Clipping it keeps it nice and bushy and thick. It likes to be used. When I was out there, I was talking to it. I always take the time to talk to my different plants. The other one that I went and got that I was so surprised about, because typically not blooming this time of year. This is normally in the spring and then into late summer. And so I was so surprised to see that my Teacup Roses, y'all, I just wish you could see how pretty, and they're not a big smelly, but they still have that whiff of rose to them. But this is a Teacup Rose. I like this. It's a little bushy rose. Over the years, I've tried growing some other varieties, and for whatever reason, I just haven't found what I vibe with. But I found I can grow the Teacup Roses, and I have like 3 bushes of them out there, and on one of them was this beautiful little spray of roses. And so I felt like the universe was like, okay, Taryn, we know that you're doing this working, and we're helping you. And so I'm going to place that into my bowl of goodness and happiness. Now, you choose what herbs, what you choose to put in here. You can also put crystals in here if you want to. You can have so much fun with it. I am going to put a quartz crystal in here. Do make sure that the stones, the rocks, and all that you use, all right, are not water soluble, all right? They don't dissolve. It's like, don't ever put selenite in water. Or if you do, you only do it once. All right, now I'm gonna show y'all, I have a little special. A couple years back when I lived in California, I got to go to Quartzsite, Arizona, which is this amazing 3 football fields of rocks, quartz, all sorts of beautiful, wonderful things. And I was able to get some beautiful, and I mean, just, it's almost worth driving back over. It's Quartzsite, and they have this big mineral show. And so I got these beautiful pieces of quartz that I use. These are some of my favorites for using for these particular type of workings. These, again, these have already been infused with goodness, prosperity, with happiness, and all the good stuff. And yes, I do have another box that has the rocks that I've already started working for the other side of Magick, where I sit and cuss at them. When you're in a bad mood, you just go find those and be like, ooh, sorry. We can't do that with these rocks. These are happy rocks. I like quartz. I also have some pieces of amethyst in here that I really like. I have a piece of tumbled amethyst in here that I enjoy working with. I have my little variety of stones that I use. I will pull them out, ooh, you're the one, to figure out which one wants to be part of the working. How do I do it? You just saw me do it. I put a couple in my hands, and the one that sort of speaks up is the one that I work with. And this is my little, I love these quartz, pieces of quartz. They're big, hunky pieces, and that's what I love so much about them, and that I was able to get them. Yes, I have notes. Y'all know I have notes to keep me on track because I just wander off and start talking about other stuff. So, now that I've got my things together, all right, this is where I can start taking my water. This has already been a happy water infusion, so it was really when I decided I was going to do the working this morning and I just started walking around. It was like everything was there that I needed. I had this last full moon done a charging of happiness. That's how come I use this particular bottle. I love these little bottles because you can do different flavors in them as well, especially if you know you're going to be working baneful. Then of course you'll probably want to have a different bottle, and then you'll go out there and work that and just cuss at that water. So I don't know why I keep telling y'all the other side of it. Well, we need to know both sides, but I just wanted, you know, that type of magic, when we get into it, that is something that needs to be heavily contemplated. It is nothing to fool around with. Within many folk magic traditions, mine included, we walk the line of righteous vengeance, meaning that our cause has to be righteous. You know, righteous justice, righteous vengeance, but it all starts with righteous. So we have to be able to look at ourselves first. We have to, you know, be willing to, you know, take ownership of where we are in that. And if truly we are without fault or guilt, then, you know, it's on the other person. And also within the folk community, our practitioners do work before and after midnight, because we believe, that's a big thing to say, we believe, most practitioners, let me rephrase this, for if there's an exchange of money, then they are just becoming part of the working. They're just a tool. There was an exchange of money, is how that's always played out. So now that I've explained all that to you, let me get back to, let's talk about some cool things about water and ways we can use them. Happy water, happy full moon water, happy bowl, everything's set up in here. This would be the time if you want to use a psalm to uplift yourself, a beautiful poem. If you have some incantation you've written down, now's the time. You may want to burn a little incense, you may want to light a candle, however you feel you need to set the mood, or you may just be sitting here in front of a camera talking to some folks. And I would like to false awakening. You were at the right time at the right place when I was just like this working, and I just want to thank you for giving me a hug when I needed it, and you didn't even know I needed it, so that was even cooler. All right, so that was a little side note, secret message. He knows who he is, and he did me a moment, and as I'm sitting here thinking happy thoughts, you know, because you're supposed to, when you're doing the working, think about happy thoughts. And that's what I did. I thought about a happy thought and I vocalized it all to you. So that was my happy thought. And now I'm going to hold that happy thought. I'm going to speak out loud my intention. All right. That may this be a shining light of prosperity, of happiness, of safety. May it fill the room with beautiful energies, making all who come into this space feel welcome. As it is said, so shall it be done. And you can add a blessed be, so mote it be. Amen. Whatever's your way, add your word, you know. If you're doing a little biblical magic, now's the time to say Shelah, which is a Hebrew word that basically says, as so shall it be done. We find it within the Psalms. There we go. Now, I'm simply going to sit this, y'all know I got shaky arms, so be careful. I am going to sit this beautiful bowl on my counter in the kitchen and just let it sit there for a couple of days. Once the water has slowly evaporated out, I will typically then take it outside, the remaining little bits and pieces, and I'll sprinkle them, within proximity to the door. You don't actually want people stepping in like a mushy, but I will sprinkle it in my garden, is how I'll reuse it. The stone will be taken out. I'll talk nice to it, tell it it did a good job, rub a little vinegar on it. That's what I typically like to do. I also like to take white cologne, Florida water, and I may use that because I do have some good Florida water over here, but I will bring it back to what I consider neutrality, and it will go back into the box, and it will probably last a couple of weeks. These are not one and done. These are constant because there's always energy fluctuations, energy changes. And if somebody, different people come into space, and some people sort of suck all the goodness up quicker than what others do. So if you're doing this working, just sort of keep yourself tuned into the space itself. And when it feels like you need to do it again, then do it again. All right, Magick is ongoing. It's just like full moon water is good for the month in which it was created. Next full moon, all new energies. That's old water. It's last month. Just give it to your house plants. So now that we've made a beautiful little bowl, we're going to set this over here so I do not mess it up. I'm going to talk about taking rainwater because I just went out and did this. Actually, this is hurricane rainwater. I live outside of Charleston on the Sea Islands, and we just had Tropical Storm Debbie. There's a little bit of particles, and I got me some of this tropical storm water. It seems like it would really a good obstacle buster. I'm still thinking about it. Write in the comments below what you think my Tropical Storm Debbie water, how you feel about it, what you would use for it. Very, very curious. This is still, I just got this. I've been playing with water for the past couple of days, and that's how come I ended up doing, like I said, this video. You saw earlier, moon water does not have to necessarily only be full moon water. It can also be new moon, dark moon, waning moon, waxing moon, all right? If you're wanting a water in which you want to build a foundation upon, all right, you would probably want to do it on a waxing moon, or doing it on the building side of the full moon. You would not want to do it on the back side of the full moon or into the waning, away from you, all right? Now, if you are doing something where you want something away from you, then you're gonna do it on the back side of a full moon, and you're gonna do it into the waning time. If you're bringing a new project on, then of course, new moon water would probably do really well. Dark moon water is considered when there's less than 9% illumination. At that point, it's absolutely nothing. This is a good water of in between. This is the crossroads water. This is the time where you're looking to see the unseen, or creating a portal, spirit communications. Anytime you're wanting the veil between the veil between worlds to get thinner, dark moon water is good for that as well. Another thing we got back into with crystal infusing, I love to get these. You can get these little bottles. You just get them up at the craft store. You put your crystals in here. Do be mindful with putting herbs in here because the bits and pieces does get up in there and clog it up. All right, you can put oil in with it. Make sure you're using good quality essential oils. And also this does have a shelf life time limit. It is meant to be used, not sit on your shelf. I like to sit it out somewhere where it's out. And that way, like, I'll sit down. And when I sit down, first thing I do is like, squitty, 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 squitty. And then I, sit yourself down. A friend comes in and I'll be like, do the squirtsy thing. and just keep that energy flowing, keep it moving, because I want to use it. All right, the other one that I do not have an example of, and I just live like less than 30 minutes to the beach, is seawater. And seawater, I think, is that really deep rebirth cleansing. There is a strength of seawater, of going into the ocean and just rinsing off. And you can, take that jar of seawater home with you as a representation of that resilience, of being vast. And however you relate to seawater. All of these correlations that I'm discussing are mostly mine. It doesn't mean it's complete. This is how it's supposed to be. You could be sitting here listening to me and you're like, yeah, I don't get that. That's not how I feel about it. That's valid. Own that, all right? And work your magic. The other one, the crystal infused. Yeah, crystal infused. And that's it. There are some really fun things to do with water, with just beyond making moon water and then it's sitting on your shelf for 30 days and you're giving it to your plants. All right, use the water. It's amazing. Water is such a magical tool, and it's all us for so many of us. It's right in front of us and we don't see it. It's not about far off ingredients. It's about what's in our own yard. So I'd like to thank all of you who watched till the end. Mwah! Your support has been amazing. Your comments are always so on point. Those of you that take the time to really write out some and share your knowledge and wisdom with all of us, I so greatly appreciate. And please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and if you really like me and think I'm cool and nifty, if you've ordered one of my books, please go to Amazon and leave me a review. If you haven't ordered one of my books, I am a best-selling author. You can find me on Amazon. You can also go to our website, houseofwitchcraft.com, where there's a list of the books that I have available. Please go check those out. I think they are good. Or else I guess I wouldn't have wrote them, but I'm like, no, there's some good information. 40 years of it, as a matter of fact. All right, witches, it never changes. It's always the same. You know it. Get out there, fly those brooms. Have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and a bow. Three nice deep breaths. Exhale. A nice deep breath on your happy stick. And ready to go. All right, 2 on your happy stick and ready to go.